Hey guys, I guess I got cut off, so I will start all over. So before we begin the talk on the 5 tips to anxiety, let me remind you that tonight I have a webinar at 8 o'clock Central, which should be 9 o'clock New York time, but 6 o'clock if you're in the West Coast around California. So tonight at 8 o'clock, I have my webinar. It's going to be really great. And it's 3 mantras of yoga fears that might be holding you back so you can have a healthier life. Tonight, once again, 8 o'clock, join that and let's begin. I want to begin with the 5 tips that I'm going to talk about to help you relieve anxiety. As you know, anxiety is fear of the future. So we worry about future things that we shouldn't worry about. We worry about if something happens to our kids. We worry about something that happens to our spouses, or what if we go on vacation, what happens after the vacation, even though we haven't even been on the vacation. We worry about, future things that we don't need to worry about because we don't know what the future holds, and what we think we get all worked up and anxious about, and then it always ends up to be better, or there's a reason for everything. So you need to start not worrying about what something that hasn't happened yet. And that's really hard because a lot of times that means that we're overthinking. And so we get anxious because we have all these things going on in our head, which causes us anxiety because we're thinking about all these situations and all these outcomes that have not even happened, and that creates so much anxiety and stress in our bodies that it affects our bodies. It affects our breathing, because sometimes it could be an anxiety attack. You might get heart palpitations. It could be a migraine that you get from anxiety. It could be loss of being present. It could be being irritable. It could be being silent. There's so many things and ways that anxiety manifests. So when you feel that you're anxious, overthinking, or things are not going right, the best thing to do is just take a breath. Sit down in a quiet place, go to the bathroom, go to another room, go somewhere where you can just inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth with a just letting it all out, because breathing will help you focus, regroup, and come back to yourself so that all those anxious feelings do not seem so overwhelming. So we inhale through the nose, allowing the breath to fill our body, and we exhale. Because what happens is sometimes when we get anxious, we forget to breathe. And if you think about it, oh my gosh, I didn't take a breath. But you probably did because you needed to stay alive, but we actually just stop breathing, or we just don't realize that our breath is actually in our chest, because so many times our breath stays in our chest when we're stressed and we're anxious, and then that stress and anxiety goes to the neck and the shoulders. So you need to try to do some of the diaphragmatic breathing and the yoga breathing, which comes from the stomach, where you inhale belly out and you exhale belly in, and it'll release a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And in the Pose to Practice course that is out these days that I have launched, we talk about diaphragmatic breathing and the right breathing in the beginning so that you can learn the process as you go on. So the first thing to help relieve anxiety is breath. Number 2 is a gratitude journal. Many times I have done the gratitude calendar. I've talked about journaling. In the next month, I will probably have a journaling workshop, which is a 2-hour workshop on how to start your journal. But number 2, gratitude journal is so important, because what I've noticed is if you talk about and you write about what you're grateful for, your anxiety is less. Because a lot of times anxiety happens because we are not ungrateful, but we don't realize how much we have. Like we're not, we're grateful for our kids, but exactly what are we grateful for? We're grateful for our home. We say these things, but we don't feel it in our body. And sometimes when you write it down in a grateful journal and you look at it and you read it, it starts to, become something that becomes pleasant to you and cause anxiety to be less. Sometimes you can even do a nice breathing exercise like a gratitude. The other day I did a yoga, on Thursday yoga, I did a gratitude breathing so we could feel the gratitude in us, because feeling gratitude is going to make you less anxious, more happy, and more thankful. Because a lot of times we're anxious because we're worried that what we have is going to be gone. You know, like when everything is so good and your life is so nice, instead of being grateful for it, we get anxious for it because like, what if it gets taken away? What if my husband loses his job? What if something happens to somebody in my family? Why is it too good? Instead of really enjoying the gratefulness and the happiness that everything is, thank God, knock on wood, going smoothly, we get anxious. We get anxious and we start thinking about things that are going to go wrong because everything is too right, and we don't realize that we should be grateful and happy and acknowledge and accept that everything is going good. But instead we get anxious, and then we manifest, and then bad things happen, or we get all crazy inside because it's too good, and so then we gravitate and bring the anxiousness along, so everything gets crazy. So just think about, like, if everything is nice, you're having a good relationship with your husband, the kids are healthy, everything's going smooth, instead of saying, oh, I'm so grateful, this is so wonderful, I'm accepting it, we're like, what's going to happen next? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And then you get so worked up that the relationship maybe you're having with your partner or your husband is so good or so nice right now, and then you're like, what are you talking about? Why are you saying that? Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden that good vibe that you have goes down the drain because your anxiety has taken over, because instead of being calm and grateful for all that you have, you start spreading the anxiousness all around to everybody else. So another one would be moving. Movement is so important. You know, because when you move, the endorphins, and you feel happy, you can listen to music, you can go for a walk in nature, you can do yoga, like in our Pose to Practice, once again, in the course. Starting step by step will help you with your anxiety and help you learn the steps to breathing, to moving, to learning about different things about yourself that are causing you anxiety. And when you're breathing and you're doing yoga, you become present, right? So all those things that are thinking in your head disappear because you're just focused on being present and yourself. And that's the beauty of yoga. But until you learn the step-by-step process, which Pose to Practice teaches, you will never get that beauty and that free of anxiety. And that's how I developed it, because there's so many people who go and take yoga because they want to, you know, relieve the anxiety from movement and this and that, but then they end up causing themselves more anxiety because they take a hot yoga, they take an advanced yoga, they go into a regular yoga, they don't know the poses, and so they're in yoga having anxiety because they don't know the poses, they're having a bad mindset, they're judging, they're comparing, and then they don't think they're flexible, and then anxiety gets blown out of proportion, yoga becomes bad, the anxiety gets bigger because you don't go to the root of it. Like a lot of times, sometimes there's something really deep inside us that anxiety is causing that anxiety, and we don't want to say it, or we don't know what it is. And when you are practicing yoga and you're sitting in silence and you're breathing and you have time to stand in the movements, all those feelings, all those things come to you to help you relax, and anything that is causing the anxiety starts coming up because you're standing there just by yourself. So you just have to think about it, and all that stuff in your head just starts going around, and you start thinking about, you know, maybe the chicken in the oven, or I'm having anxiety because one of my kids is sick, or, you know, I am having anxiety because I didn't call my mother, or somebody's, you know, I need to call the plumber, or whatever your anxiety might be. Or maybe it might be I haven't finished a project, or I had a fight with my husband, whatever it is. When you're standing in that position and it's just you and your body, all those things come up, and all those things slowly start getting clear, and you start reducing your anxiety because you're accepting it in the yoga positions. So number 5 would be leave the place that you're at. Like if you're sitting at home and you're having anxiety there, or if you're out with friends and all of a sudden you're not feeling comfortable, leave the table, take a walk, and come back. If you're at home, go outside, go to a cafe, change your environment, because sometimes the environment you're in, like I know, like the other day I was home for 3 days because the weather was bad, and by the 3rd day I was feeling anxious. I was going from room to room to room, and I was feeling irritated, and all these thoughts were coming to my head because I'm only human, right? And I was getting anxious, and then I was thinking about the course, and I was thinking about my life, and I was like, I was just getting really antsy. And that can happen if you're stuck in one situation or one place. And it can be whether it's 3 days, whether it's 1 day, whether it's 1 hour. If you start feeling the anxiousness, the overthinking, the overwhelm coming, then you should leave that situation and go into another room, or try to leave the house and then come back. So In Pose to Practice, we also have a special bonus, which is Conquering Overwhelm in 7 days. And that really helps with anxiety because it's a workbook with 7 steps. And if you join the VIP, you also get the one-on-one personal call with me 2 times. You get the private lessons every week. You get the Overwhelm book, and you get the 12 books of yoga. So if you want to join, hopefully you will want to, but if you join Pose to Practice, the regular level, you will still get the Facebook group. You will still get the questions and answers 1 a week, and we will have personal interaction. But if you feel you're overly anxious and you're overly thinking and you need more help and support, then the VIP would be better for you. And we have a payment plan, and it's really about time that you invest in yourself. If you're overthinking, if you're having stress, you're having anxiety, because you can either, one, be stuck where you are, and next year, in 6 months, in 3 months, be like, why am I still here, telling the story over and over in your head? Or number 2, you can move forward, and we can work on this anxiety, and the yoga can help with the breathing and the movements, and just staying still in the poses does so much for your body, mentally, physically, spiritually. You need to get over that overthinking. So I just want to go through the 5 tips again for those of you who came a little later. So the 5 things that you can do to help reduce anxiety. And obviously, if it gets blown out of proportion or too much, please go get professional help. But these are tips that can really, really help you. 1 is breathe. Number 2 is a grateful journal. I think the grateful journal is amazing. And actually, I don't have my journal here, but I have beautiful handmade journals from this lady in the UK, and she's a Reiki specialist. So if you want to have those, let me know, and I can order them for you. They are all handmade, so beautiful. On my website, I do have them, but they're all sold out, and they're coming in another 2 weeks. So if you go on the website, you can order them, or you can let me know, and then when they come in, I can let you know as well. But they are beautiful, and new designs are coming out. They were so popular that they're all sold out. I need to put sold out on the website. Number 3 is movement, like yoga. Pose to Practice is a perfect way for you to go from 1 to 10, for you to start learning the practices, because we need to go back to the basics. Start learning the practices and going up and relieving your anxiety. So as your yoga practice increases, your anxiety will lower. So it's going to go away. Yoga practice increases, anxiety lower, right? Because you're going to learn the tips, you're going to do the movements, you're going to do the breath, you're going to listen to the meditation. So much you're going to get out of it. And then number 4 is call a family member or friend. Sometimes when you talk to somebody who's dear to your heart, or somebody who understands you, the anxiety goes down, because sometimes we just need that nurturing and that care and that love. And then go out. Get out of the situation you're in. Go out. Go to a cafe. Go walking outside. Go do something that's out of the situation. One thing that I would like to add, I know it's 5 tips, but I want to add a bonus, and that is nurture yourself and be kind. We are so hard on ourselves, and we just throw all this responsibility, and we don't fill ourselves up with self-care. So I would say number 6 would be kind to yourself and self-care, because we take on everybody else's responsibility. Like if we tell our kids, pick up your shoes, they don't pick up their shoes, they go watch TV, they're watching their show, and we're still stressed out about their shoes being on the floor. Let it go. Let it go. I don't know, I mean, if it's ego or if it's obsession, whatever it is, but we just need to let it go, right? If there are dishes in the sink and your family's watching TV, sit with your family and watch TV, do the dishes later. Just let it go. If you've got 10 things to do the next day, write them down, or do it the night before, or figure out what your day is going to be like. Have a morning routine. The thing is that we complain and we make excuses about I have this, this, and this, but we don't get organized. We don't have routines, and that causes the chaos also and the anxiety. So you need to start getting organized, and yoga can help you do that, because it will teach you step by step how to do the poses, and then how to walk, and then how to run, and how to breathe, so that when you're feeling anxious, it's a tool for you. When you're feeling anxious and you don't know what to do, you can go in the corner, do a couple of poses. Or when you wake up in the morning or before you get at night, or when you have that time, you can do the yoga poses once you learn them. You don't need to do 4 yoga poses in a row. You can do 1 yoga pose, and that will get you in the mode, and that will release you. And each week we have a theme as well, so you can go back to the videos and look at the themes and see what suits you, whether it's meditation, whether it's poses, whether it's movement, whatever it is. So I just want to say that I'm going to post a link to Pose to Practice. I hope to see you in it, because I want to have a relationship with you. I want to help you. I want to be your guide to the best left ever, the best transition.